Crazy. Crazy.
All right, it's always good to have you sit next to a trophy. You can take it back with you.
Right now?
As soon as we're done, yeah.
Awesome.
So,
Hey guys, we won a trophy.
all right.
I didn't know if we got one for the East or if we had to
That's
win the
good.
one.
Yeah. It's always nice to put a head coach next to a trophy, so that's
I like that,
part of the
yeah.
effort.
Get lots of
it's all about.
photos.
So, that's right. Well, we want to welcome everyone for joining us for today's press conference. Again, we want to welcome our 2013 East Division champion Bowling Green Falcons with head coach Dave Clausen and obviously Dominic Fluella and Paul Swan. So we want to thank you, gentlemen. We'll let the coach open with a statement, and then we'll take questions. And again, in about 20 minutes, we'll break so they can get out and be ready for their walkthrough out on the field. Coach.
Well, thanks for being here, and we appreciate you covering the MAC championship game. We're extremely proud of our football team and proud to represent the East Conference in tomorrow night's championship game. We expect a great football game. Again, we're very proud of our football team, but we have tremendous respect for what Northern Illinois has accomplished, not just this season, but the past 3 and 4 years. They're an excellent football team. They've got a lot of talented players. They're extremely well coached, and we look forward to a great game tomorrow night.
Dave, talk about the challenges that Jordan Lynch presents. How difficult is it to stop this guy?
Well, it's the challenges that anytime you defend a great player, there's challenges, and they know how to use them. When it's a quarterback that they can get in one-back sets and empty sets and really run I-formation tailback plays that they can block the extra hat, and any attempt to cheat against that, you're going against potentially a future NFL quarterback that has great arm strength and he's accurate. And so his skill set at the quarterback position makes him very multiple. And anytime they drop back and throw the ball, there's almost a built-in quarterback draw that's part of that. So just his ability to create, his ability to take broken plays and well-defended plays and make them really positive plays, I think is what makes him such a tough out.
Is there any way that you can compare him? Who do you compare him to?
I tell you what, it's hard for a comparison just because usually when a quarterback runs that well, maybe they're not as accurate a thrower or they're not as refined as a passer as he is, and that's why he's such a unique talent. I guess the last guy that was close might be Chandler Harnish. They've had a good run there of exceptional quarterbacks. So we're hoping there's not another one in the wings, but there probably is.
Hey, Coach, do you see this as a statement game for national exposure for Bowling Green football?
I think anytime you play in a championship game, you don't have to make it beyond what it is. It's for a conference championship. So to give it added importance of a statement game or things like that, there's certainly enough motivation on our behalf to win this thing because we want to be the MAC champions. When the season started and we were here a little over 4 months ago, our goal was to get back here and win. And we're one of 2 teams that goal is still intact. And again, we're excited for that opportunity tomorrow night.
Coach, when did you realize that this team had what it takes to get here? Was there a point this season where you're like, we're doing this?
I don't want this to come off the wrong way, but I think this team expected to be here. I think this football team would have been very disappointed if we weren't here. And so I almost felt last year we were a game away from being here, and I don't know if that team expected to be here. I think this football team, when the year started, expected to be playing in this football game and would have been really disappointed if we didn't find a way to get here. Do you guys agree with that? Yeah. I like these guys.
Paul, is this for a defense? Is this kind of one of those games where you're facing a guy like Jordan Lynch? Is it one of those games where you get up even a little? I know it's a MAC championship. You don't need anything extra. When you face a guy like Jordan Lynch, is there a little bit extra juice to try to quiet people about him?
Yeah, I mean, he's a Heisman hopeful, obviously. He's a great player, and, obviously we want to come out and have a strong showing against him. And, I don't think it adds to the juice we have because I think all season, especially this last month in November, we've been really juiced up. We've came out, we've had a fire under us, and we plan on keeping that going in this game tomorrow night. It's going to be a great opportunity for our defense to be in the showcase and the spotlight of national television, going up against such a great player and great offense and great team all around that, we're going to be juiced up for it.
Paul, would you talk also a little bit more about what Coach was saying, that expectation of being here? I mean, was that the...
Yeah, I mean, like last year when we had a chance to go to the game last year and we were playing Kent State, and I think we were just hoping to win that game and hoping to get to the MAC championship. And, you know, when we lost, it was obviously a huge disappointment, but I don't think we necessarily were expecting to win and expecting to go to the MAC championship versus this year. We came into the season, I mean, we said right after the season was over, we plan on winning that MAC championship next year and being in that game. And I think that showed in spring ball and then rolled into summer when we were training. But Coach Horrigan did an awesome job with us this offseason, training us to be in this position. And then it rolled into camp and then the season, and we were just expecting to be at this point. So I think if we weren't here, it would have been a real disappointing season for us.
Hey, Coach, can you talk about your defense after the loss with Toledo? Because it seemed to be even that much better. I think 2 yards a carry, I think you guys have averaged in the last 4 games or something like that.
Well, we certainly came into the season with very high expectations of our defense. We were, I believe, the number 6 defense in the country a year ago, and we returned 9 starters. We felt we were developing good depth. And we played well early in the season, but I never felt we were playing to the level we were capable of, and part of that was injury. We've got a really good defensive line, and a lot of those guys were not at full strength. They were playing, but I don't think they were playing up to their ability level. And you know, because of Maction and Tuesday and Wednesday night football that we all love, we got some long breaks that really helped us. You know, having the bye week after Mississippi State, and then having 9 days before we played Miami of Ohio, and then having a break of 9 days before we played Eastern. Those breaks really allowed our defensive linemen to get healthy. And I think right now, and this is very unusual, that you play a college football season and usually as the year goes on you wear down. In a lot of ways, I feel our defense is as healthy as we've been all year. And obviously we miss Gabe Martin, and he's a great player, and we miss Daryl Hunter from early in the year. But the guys we have, I think, feel as healthy as they've been all year.
Dominic, will you talk, a lot of has been Jordan Lynch against the defense and things like that. The offense will you talk a little bit about the offense's role in stopping Lynch? I mean, basically, field position, scoring points, and holding on to the ball.
Well, I wouldn't say our job is to stop Lynch. Our job is just to execute the best way we can and score one more point than them. The best way to do that is to take control of the ball, because a lot of times this year we were leading in time of possession. And if we were able to establish the run and hit on some play actions, I believe we can keep them off the field. And hopefully we can execute at the high level we plan on doing, and hopefully we can score just one more point than they can. We have faith in our defense, they have faith in us, and together we can come together and hopefully get something done tomorrow. Very special.
Paul, what do you got to do to be successful against Jordan Lynch for that option?
Yeah, I think it starts with just tackling him. You know, a lot of teams you watch that played him haven't tackled him very well, and I think that's what helps them, get those explosive runs and everything. And I mean, obviously they have a great offensive line who blocks it up real well for him, but I think the big thing is just we got to tackle him, we got to fit the run up, fit the plays up, not get caught looking somewhere else. We got to read our keys and just bring him down to the ground.
Coach, what are your impressions of the defense for NIU? So much talk about their offense and particularly their ability to create turnovers.
Well, everyone's trying to make this out, the number 1 defense in the MAC against the number 1 offense. And you don't get to this game just by being strong on one side of the ball. I mean, our defense has been good for 2 years. The reason we're in this game is the improvement we've made on offense. I mean, we were 10th or 11th in the league in offense last year, and I think we're 3rd in the conference now. We're scoring, John, you're with how many more points a game are we scoring this year?
It's double.
A lot more. So, and Northern has a good defense. Jimmy Ward is as fine a safety as there is in the conference. The defensive tackle Bishop is a big-time player. Their middle linebacker Mays, the outside linebacker Bass. These are very good football players, and their 2 ends can rush the passer. And sometimes the nature of what you do on one side of the ball helps your numbers on the other side. We have a really good defense, and those guys have played well for 2 years. We lead the country in time of possession. So that certainly helps our defense. And if you look at Northern defensively, their numbers may not be great in terms of yards and points, but when you're scoring as fast as they are, you know, they're playing more plays than our defense is. So sometimes, you know, certainly the one side helps the other. If you look at Northern's big wins, their defense has created a lot of positive field position for their offense and given them short fields. And I think the Toledo game was a great example. In the first series of the game, they get a strip sack fumble, and now they've got a short field, and they're up 7-0. And so they're a big part of this too, and they've got very good football players on defense as well.
Dominic, Paul, in a game like this, how hard is it not to be overwhelmed and too amped by this moment and just play, I guess, in the moment?
I think, you know, it obviously is a big game. It's a championship game. You know, there's a lot of outside things going on with it, but, you know, I don't think this team's gonna have a problem staying focused on the task at hand. You know, we're a very veteran group. We have a lot of older guys who know what the job is and know how to keep guys focused and locked in, so I don't think it's gonna be that big of a deal with all the distractions of it being a championship game.
Well, like you said, our veterans are really calm this year. We understand what it takes because we expected to be here. I had to calm down one of the freshman tackles because he's getting a little excited. Jacob Bennett, you know, he started thinking too much. It can get wild. It can get pretty wild. But I think everybody just looked to us, and we've stayed to the next step. And when we finally beat Buffalo, we were like, all right, now we got another step ahead of us. Not just looking ahead like, oh, we just won, and now it's going to be the biggest game of our lives. Just moving on to the next game, and we're just trying to take every game that we took. The first game of the season, the second game of the season, so everybody's on the same page.
Do you, in this situation, do you let them, the leaders, kind of handle that, or have you had a moment with them, kind of the Hoosiers moment, it's 100 yards, you know?
You don't need to do that with this group. You really don't. I mean, I say it over and over, and it's a cliche, but this has been a great group to coach. It really has. Practice is fun. My captain's meetings are fun. I can't say enough about how much work that this group has put in. And this isn't coach speak, and they're not trained to say these things. And that is real for our football team. And we talked about we were going to enjoy the Buffalo game, but the sense of just happy to be here does not apply to this group. And you know, when we talked earlier about expecting to be here, I think a lot of teams, you start out every year saying you expect to be here and you want to be back, and I think sometimes it's, you know, you're naive. Your players are naive. They don't realize how much work it takes, the adversity you go through in the season. That is not the case with this group. I mean, 3 years ago that was the case. Our guys could have said, hey, we expect to be here. It wasn't real. That was naive. This group understands how hard it is to win a football game every week in this conference, and what a marathon it is, and how much work it takes just to be in this position. And once you're in this position, you know, you certainly want to win it.
Dave, I know this is the MAC championship game, but if you were coach of Northern Illinois, you guys are unbeaten, if you were, could you talk about the playoff system that they're going to have next year? Do you feel that it should be 8? Because it seems like even if a MAC championship team is unbeaten, they're going to be left out.
Yeah, I don't, you know, the grand big scale of college football, I don't worry about that too much. I'm just trying to get a stop on 3rd down and get a 1st down.
Well, I'm just wondering, because
Yeah,
see,
I
it's your
think-
conference, you know what I mean,
our
even
conference,
if you win.
We love the opportunity to play those games. Our players love going to Florida, and they love going to Mississippi State. They enjoy the challenge of those games, and of course, we'd want to be included in that. But, you know, it is what it is, and we don't have, as coaches, we don't have a lot of say in that process. That's at the next level. So, of course, we would like a seat at that table. Of course, we would like it to be 8. It's not, and a coach getting up here stumping for a conference probably isn't going to change that.
Paul, what worked well for you guys in the game against Buffalo? You pretty much shut them down.
I mean, we knew we had to shut down Oliver. That was the main thing. We knew we had to stop the run because, you know, he's a very electric back. He was having a great season, and, you know, hats off to Coach Elko and our defensive staff. You know, they came up with a great game plan, and our players executed it. And, you know, we did what we needed to do in that game, and, you know, we just got to come out and do the same thing against NIU.
Dominic, is there any benefit to having played in a pro venue last week in Buffalo, Ralph Wilson, to playing in a pro venue this week, or does it matter?
It really doesn't matter to me personally. I can't speak for the whole team, but it's nice being in both venues. This one's just a little bit warmer than the one last week. us, yeah, I think we enjoy that the most more than the actual plays. We're just glad to be here. We love the fact that we earned a spot to be here, and we believe we should be.
Any further questions for our Falcons? If not, we'll let Coach Clausen take his trophy back to the locker room and let you guys get back on the field.
All right, thanks again.
Thank you.
All right. And again, we'll open up the practice for the first 15 minutes out on the field at 4 o'clock, and then we'll be in here for 4:15 for Northern Illinois, okay?